Alright, here we go with a run that was recorded only a few days before the update for Danger Pack came out. And as you can see, we get the turn 1 tier 2 from the triple marmoset, and it's guinea pig. I feel like I might have already done a turn 1 guinea pig, but it is kind of funny that you can still end up with 2 units even though you took the level up. So we're going to try and take this guinea pig all the way to the end. Now, I forget exactly which pack this was that I was playing in, but it wasn't, it wasn't necessarily the greatest pack. It was obviously designed for some meme recording or other. Maybe we'll be able to work it out as we go, but definitely a lot of the things that I would have normally taken were not in here. So pretty decent start considering, we got out of the first couple of turns with actually having a win, which is pretty unusual for a turn 1 tier 2. And then guinea pig is going to let us race to getting level 3 quite quickly. Yeah, we can see I've got Ohm here. I don't normally take that unit, so I feel like this was just an adaptation of an existing pack where I was trying to mix in new units and see if it would help me get the build I was actually hoping for, as we immediately get our 5-3 sniped by a dolphin on turn 4, which is pretty much par for the course. So I take the parrot here as well, try and double up on the ailments, since the Ohm can only give 1 spooked, regardless of how much you actually roll. Okay, we didn't have quite enough there to knock out the swan, and we ended up losing. That was unfortunate. But I think a lot of this stuff is going to get dumped from the team pretty soon when I find, well, I wasn't necessarily looking for what we find here, but I'm definitely going to replace everything, I think, other than the guinea pig. Unfortunately, the spooked here lands on the brain cramp, so it's going to automatically remove it. So I take the level up here, and I get turkey and red dragon. So I guess we're just going to take the turkey since we got platypus from the stoat cell. But again, the turkey's going to go as soon as we find what we're hoping for. And I think, yeah, we're just going to scrape a tie here because of the platy summons. Treasure chest breaks, we actually end up getting Sphinx and then triple puppy in shop. So on turn 8, we're actually going to go for bringing puppy into the team, which is pretty unusual. And then we get the moose, and I think, am I going to sell the platypus here? Really, I should have sold platypus there in case some of the buffs went onto it, but luckily we avoided that scenario. So now on turn 8, we only have 1 trophy. We're going to start facing some pretty bad opponents who are also greeding, although I guess I'm not necessarily greeding, I'm just trying to carry the turn 1 tier 2. But now that we've got the moose, I think I'm going to get rid of absolutely everything. And then, yeah, we'll make sure we get the chocolate and then freeze some tier 1s, buy sell the zebra. We actually end up getting the double chocolate in 1 turn, which is incredibly fortunate. And then look at this, a full board of tier 1s. This is very similar to a video not too long ago where I had Scorpion on like turn 8 or 9. And I did the same thing where I was trying to concentrate the buffs. Here's Wisp with a team where the parrot actually gets activated in battle by the pink robin, although it didn't really matter there, of course. Now, unfortunately, here the puppy toy runs out, so I'm just going to take Stingray until we can find another puppy. But I would rather have the double weakness, I think. And look at that, the puppy's on 50 health, and we only bought it like 2 or 3 turns ago. So pretty nice high roll with the moose. But that's not necessarily going to save us here because we're going to have to go to the late game, given that we drew and lost so many games early. So we swap over to the baguette on the moose, and then I also take a werewolf. So the toilet paper should cover the equipment on the first 2 units, which would mean that the moose removes something from the back line. Sometimes it can go against you, where you put the weakness on the front 2 units and they were maybe the only 2 units that actually had any equipment. But otherwise I think it's a pretty decent strat. I think I accidentally rolled past a tier 1 there. Again, not sure if I was specifically looking for something or not. But having the extremely high health here on the puppy helps us beat this Nurikabe squad. So I get a second werewolf, and I'm just going to keep both of them. I think just because of what was in the pack, this was probably the best thing I could have taken. I don't remember exactly what was in this particular pack. I'm not sure I still have the code. But this is funny here where we face this small one team and the mushroom gets removed by the puppy toy. And luckily here there's a waffle in shop so we can bring the toy back. Now the moose health is going to kind of go to waste on the werewolf because ultimately they're gaining so much HP that it doesn't really matter. But look at this, back-to-back small one opponents. I guess because of our early game record, you know, we had a lot of ties. Most of these small one teams are going to be having ties as well. But luckily we had so much health there that we were able to weather the storm. And I think, yeah, we'll just take whatever equipment is offered. The guinea pig hits 50 HP, which is a little bit of a waste because I think it was pretty close already. And then look, opposing level 3 guinea pig on turn 15. Now tell me that's not a bit suspicious in terms of the matchmaking. Not many people playing Blowfish plus Lamprey. And I think, yeah, we just scrape a tie. I don't know if that could have been different depending on the snipes. But I was happy that the team was staying alive, even though we had virtually no attack. But then look at this, turn 16, I get the sloth. Now there's absolutely no way here that I can bring the sloth in and have any chance. We need both werewolves. We need the puppy for as soon as we find a waffle. I guess maybe I could have sold the moose, but the fact that it has the baguette, yeah, you could see. I've simulated pausing and thinking here on the replay system. So in the end, what I decided to do is tick something else off the sloth bucket list. And that is getting HP from moose by rolling the sloth. So there the sloth goes bye-bye, although you do actually see it in the next shop phase. And I suppose you could actually, this was before the update, I think they fixed this bug, but you used to be able to freeze on the following turn. Of course, I still wouldn't have been able to bring it into my squad. You know, turn 17, we would expect to lose if we just bring in a 1-1. So yeah, we barely scrape a win there, and the sloth disappears. It would have been fun to test out if I could have frozen it, but I didn't even think about it at the time. And luckily we get the waffle here. So yeah, we're getting very close to having maxed out health. And I suppose I could actually just sell the moose now. Unfortunately, we end up facing some axolotl cringe. Now, this is obviously no longer possible in the new version. I haven't actually been playing much customs. But, you know, when you get to turn 17, this is almost guaranteed. So we just need to hope that we can face some other poor soul who's drawn a ton of games and gotten up to turn 18 with a squad that just isn't good enough or isn't as good as you would expect it to be for this point in the game. So I end up taking the bear, and yeah, we just maneuver things around so that we don't replace the lemon. And this is actually a fairly weak squad in comparison to what you would expect. Level 3 Stork, however, produces level 3 Nyala. But luckily the toilet paper removed the mushroom that was on that Stork, so we kind of avoided the nightmare scenario of them getting double Nyala or maybe even Scorpion. And look at the sheer amount of health on the backline units. We're able to power through, and the turn 1 tier 2 level 3 guinea pig gets the win on turn 18.